So, hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. I have a very, very special guest for you to get to know and for me to know as well. Her journey is very powerful, and she's about to share with us how she got started, what she's all about, and also how she handles motherhood while she's being a top entrepreneur. So, here I would like to present to you Bridget.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bridget Duhame, and I'm a women's health coach. I specifically work with women who are suffering from a lot of chronic fatigue and who have some sort of thyroid issue, specifically Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism.
Wow. So tell me when, because I know I've seen your journey. I've heard, I read your post. I know we've talked a little bit, in the past, and I want to know, when did you discover you were suffering with it, and how has that impacted your life?
Okay, so yes, it's been a pretty crazy 10-year journey thus far. But pretty much after I got pregnant with my first child, my daughter, after having her, I just really didn't feel like myself. I felt like something was wrong. A lot of women kind of go through this phase after having their first child where they think, well, maybe I have postpartum depression. And then, you're not able to lose weight and you're just feeling really crummy about yourself, just in general,
Mm-hmm.
super exhausted. I felt overly tired. And it was like my daughter was growing up. She was about 2 years old. And I just thought at some point, like, that I would start to feel like my normal self again. And I didn't. I was just so low in energy, so fatigued. I could not fit back into my pre-pregnancy clothes at all. I had to buy all new sizes of clothes, which was really it was really hard on my self-esteem because I thought, like, oh man, okay, well, this is just, I guess this is just it. This is my new life. And I just have to accept it and live with it. But I finally went in and got some testing done through my doctor's office. And then lo and behold, they were like, well, oh my goodness, like your thyroid function is, severely low. And I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism when my daughter was about 2 years old. And so then it like made so much more sense. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going crazy. There actually is a medical condition going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then, of course, they put me on some thyroid hormone replacement medication, and I started my journey with that. It really has taken, though, several years of me trying to figure out ways to feel better, because when you go into the doctor's office and you get this diagnosis, which is a very common diagnosis, more and more women, well, I mean, men too, but especially women are really prone to getting this disease. And thyroid medication is like the number one prescribed medication in the United States right now.
Oh wow.
That's how common this disease is. And doctors are literally just, they tell you, okay, here's this diagnosis. Here's this little pill that you are going to take for the rest of your life. There's no cure, and that's it. That's what you're told. And so, of course, I trusted my doctors. I figured they're the professional. They know what they're doing. And okay, this is a disease I'm just going to have to live with. But what happened is, as the years went on, my symptoms just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I would go in, I would get labs done, and they would check my labs and say, well, everything's within normal range. Like, you should feel fine. They would never up my medication or anything like that. It was just like, oh, no, everything's normal. But yet I was having really bad joint pain. I felt like I was in my 20s, and I felt like I was in the body of an 80-year-old. It
Wow.
was just so bad, and I didn't know what was going on. And so I was just in a severe amount of pain every day. I was having all kinds of digestive issues, and it just seemed like everything that I was eating was bothering me. And I just kept gaining more and more new food sensitivities to different things that I never used to have problems eating before. I had horrible brain fog, just couldn't think clearly at all. Couldn't stay focused on one task at a time. I was pretty much on the verge of an emotional breakdown every day. I think I cried like every day for I
I
don't know how
bet.
long. I mean, there's so many different symptoms that I went through. And of course, like, the weight gain and not being able to get that off and just feeling so tired and fatigued, really hard to drag myself out of bed every morning. I literally only got out of bed to take my daughter like to and from school at one point, because that was literally all I could do. And like trying to cook meals, that was really difficult as well. And when it got to that point, I just knew, I was like, I can't continue to live like this anymore.
Right.
And so I started researching and I started reading books, and it just kind of opened up my mind to the world of natural medicine and healing yourself through nutrition and supplementation and making sure that you are getting the proper amount of rest and reducing stress and just all these little lifestyle factors that I had no idea about. It's stuff that your doctors don't tell you about when you go in there. It's just they prescribe you the medication and then you're on your way. They don't tell you, oh, well, here's some lifestyle changes that you can make in order to actually make yourself feel better and manage this disease better. And so slowly but surely, I started healing myself. My body started healing. And honestly, I will say nutrition was probably the biggest piece for me, because when I changed my nutrition, over within the matter of 2 months, I probably lost 20 to 30 pounds.
Wow.
And the brain fog went away. I was finally able to think clearly for like the first time in years. And I felt like myself again, which was huge, because for so long I felt like I was just walking around in this fog. I didn't know who I was. I was just, mom trying to take care of my kid, but just really struggling to make it through the day, living off of caffeine and sugar and anything that I could just to get through the day. But I had no idea how harmful all these, the things that I was doing in my daily life, that were just contributing to the disease further. So, I know, cut to me now, I'm actually, it's given me a whole new passion for what I'm doing now as far as coaching other women, which has just been really rewarding in itself. I never thought that I would be having my own business, and let alone being a coach. So that's been definitely a new journey that's just really developed within the past couple of years. And it's just because I've received so much healing in my own life that I've realized other women need to know about this, because our medical system is so broken and doctors are not telling their patients this stuff. And there is a way that people can feel better, and I need to be a voice. And I just felt that really strong calling on my life after having gone through all of this. And that's not to say that my journey isn't over, because I'm still constantly learning new things, and I'm constantly making improvements to my own health as I go along, because it's really a never-ending journey in itself. But I'm super excited and happy to be doing what I am now. It's been an amazing journey.
Well, I'm really glad that you took that journey, because there are a lot of people that suffer from it, and they're probably in the same position that you're in. And I know, like almost a decade ago, when I started, suffering from anxiety, one of the side effects of it was, having troubles with my stomach. And because of the troubles that I had with my stomach, I couldn't breathe. And there's like all these other parts that were just like piling on top of each other. And just like you did, instead of trying to take medication for something that I didn't feel that I had something physically wrong with me, and instead of taking a pill, I started researching just like you did, and looking at natural things and ways to help my body heal. And one of them was aloe, and all these other things that, like you said, now looking back, it all makes sense. And I wish someone would have taken my hand and said, well, look, you're not eating right, you're not sleeping right, and you're definitely not thinking right.
Yeah.
The thinking process also was such a huge cause of how I was feeling. And,
Mm-hmm.
but I really, really love stories like yours because it takes us back to the power that we actually really have as humans to take
Yes.
charge of our own lives and turn it all around. And often, like very often, I find that when I share stories like this, it's out of our deepest struggles come the biggest blessings in our lives. And
Mm.
like you said, I don't think you would have imagined that you would be a nutrition coach right now, but because of what you went through and because of the healing that you've gone through, now you're taking all what that you've learned and you're leading by example, and that is like really, really powerful. Because maybe someone that's just once is passionate about nutrition, the people that suffer from the condition that you have might not really relate to a nutritionist, but because you've gone through it and you can tell your own stories and you can show how you can get out of it, that gives people the belief that they can do it as well. So I'm really, really grateful that you've done that. You really, so tell me, how do you manage? Because I know you have two little ones, and how do you manage, having your own business and, obviously tending to your relationship and then taking care of your
Mm.
children and finding the time to do all that?
Well, there's no perfect balance. I think that is the most important thing to remember, because in starting my own business, at first I thought that I had to have it all together. Like the kids had to be clean and fed and loved, and the house had to be clean, and all the dishes and laundry, and and then I had to be growing my business and making profit there, but also helping people. So at first I thought that I had to have all those pieces in order. And then the more that I've gone through this and the more that the longer that I've, actually been in business for myself, I've realized there is no perfect balance. There's going to be crazy days where the house is a mess. And there's going to be crazy days where my kids sometimes like maybe don't go to bed, bathed or clean. And you have to give yourself grace. You do, because it's, like I said, yeah, nothing's going to be perfect. And I just really try to manage the best that I can and realize there's some days that are going to be more focused on family. And then there's going to be other days that are more focused on business. And that's just kind of the way it is. And my kids are amazing, and they have really kind of adapted through this process. It's funny. Sometimes, we get so worried about our children. Oh, well, they need me, but I've noticed as they've gotten older, like how self-sufficient they actually are. And I was really fearful in starting my own business in the first place. I think it took me so long because I felt like, oh no, I got to be there. I got to be mom. I got to be doing all the things. But they're faring really well on their own, during the day for the most part. And that it's really a blessing to be able to work from home because my schedule is flexible and I do, cater my hours. Like, okay, most of the time when I'm dealing with clients, it's either usually first thing in the first part of the morning or later in the evenings when my kids are already in bed. So it's nice to be able to have that schedule, and I can just make it work for what we need and for what our family needs, which has been really awesome. I know in a regular like 9 to 5 job I wouldn't be able to do that, and I wouldn't be able to rush in and out. Sometimes I will literally be on the phone with a client and then like my son needs help in the bathroom or something, so I'm like, okay, you know what, hold on a few minutes, I'll be right back or whatever. And thankfully people are actually really understanding. They know that I work from home, and if anything, I think it just makes me appear like a real human being.
Human, right?
It's just life. It's life, but people appreciate that realness, because yes, I try to be as professional as possible, but at the same time, people want to be able to relate to you. And I do work with a lot of moms, who are dealing with a lot of fatigue, but they've got kids that they've got to deal with during the day. And so I'm able to relate to them on that level and give them tips and different things of, well, maybe try this, or, you need to schedule a certain time for yourself, even if that means once your kids go to bed, you got to have that time for yourself every day and practice that self-care, because when you're not taking care of yourself, like, how are you going to take care of anybody else? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the children, emulate what we do. They follow
mhm.
our example more than what we tell them to do. So if you practice those things, and for them to understand and even give them permission to make mistakes or to not have it all figured out, I think that builds a lot of resilience and a different type of personality. And I know that you and Rob are such a great example, but I do know that this year has been quite challenging for people, and especially with COVID and the worries and
Yes.
schools closing, and then like just I think the whole world has come to like a halt. How did you
Right.
navigate that, and what did that mean for your family? What did that mean for your business?
Mm, yeah, so this year has been rough, I think, on everybody. And especially, I mean, I would be lying if I said that it did not take a harsh hit on our business. Because when things hit, people were very scared. And of course, with coaching, sometimes people don't view it as a necessary expense. It's a nice to have sort of thing, just like a gym membership. It's nice to have, but when the world's falling apart and people are losing their jobs and their security, then what are the first things that get cut? And so yes, we did suffer quite a bit of a financial loss when all this went down, in the first part of the year, which was kind of scary. And so me and Rob definitely had to get very creative in the way that we were reaching out to people and marketing ourselves and different things. And I will have to say, though it's been rough, we have been very blessed and we have never gone hungry. There's always been food on the table. And I thank God for that. And, we've just put our faith in him through this time. But something that really good that has come out of this time is I was kind of able to dive in, and I created this little passion project this year. And I created, for the very first time, I created my own 6-week course for women, all on fatigue. And so I'm in my second round of it right now. I'm taking my second group of women through this course, which has just been really interesting, but really rewarding at the same time. And throughout the 6 weeks, it's just going through different areas of your life that you need to address in order to feel better, in order to have more energy and not feel exhausted all the time and not feel like you have to rely on caffeine every day to get through the day, just by making all these different lifestyle changes. And so through the weeks, we go through nutrition and exercise and hydration, sleep. We go through stress management. We go through toxicity, like if you have a lot of toxic burden on your body, that can be creating a lot of fatigue. And then also I go into medical reasons that could be causing the fatigue that you may be feeling on a daily basis. One of the main ones would be, thyroid issues, because I do specialize in that. So I do cover that quite a bit, but I go into a lot of different other autoimmune conditions as well in my presentations. So it's been really interesting to take people through all the stuff that I've learned over the years and just kind of compiled it all into one course. So I really wish somebody, like when I was first diagnosed, I wish somebody would have said, hey, here, like, this is everything that you need to know. And that's kind of like what this project was for me. It was like, look, like, if you're suffering, from feeling really crummy every day and you're just dragging to get through the day, like, these are the areas that you need to address. Because when it comes to healing, it's not about just one thing. You have to take a very multifaceted approach, and you have to target every single area of your life. And that doesn't mean that you have to do it all at once. It's a process, and you have to take baby steps there, and you have to make one small change at a time. But over time, all those little changes really do add up, and it does make you feel healthier, and just overall your sense of well-being is going to be in a much happier and joyful place if you're taking care of yourself properly and doing the things that you know you need to be doing. So it's been really awesome just throughout, even through the struggles of this year. I was able to create this course, and now I'm taking women through it, and they're having a lot of like aha moments, which is really cool to see, because as they're going through the different training videos that I have done, and then we're getting on live calls every week as well, so I'm able to address their questions and concerns that they might have. And we really dive into the different things that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And so people are receiving a lot of answers from it for the first time in their life. And I'm like, what? I mean, even though this year has been so bad, there's been such good that's come out of it at the same time. And I am ending, I'm actually in the final week, the 6-week of my course right now with my second group of women. And I will be marketing it again come 2021 in the new year. So I am excited. I want to keep taking women through this, because there's so many women who are suffering and need to know that there's different ways, natural ways, that they can help heal themselves and feel better. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. Does that answer your question? I don't know. I feel like I'm blabbing on down a rabbit hole here.
No. I think all of that matters. It just shows your, thinking process. It shows your growth. It reflects your passion. It reflects your understanding. There's like just so many components of it that go into everything that you've said. And I know, like I said, one of the, my passion projects is helping people with anxiety, because I've been in it, because I know how tough it is to be there, because I found better ways of dealing with it, addressing it, looking at it, turning it around. It's just so important. And I think that the people that are in the front doing, the hard lifting first, are able to help those who are in it right now and don't see a solution out. Because
Yes.
For some people, and I'm sure that for some people that were in your situation, they probably drove themselves crazy thinking that, there's something in their mind, nobody can help me out. There's like this feeling of hopelessness and helplessness.
Yeah.
And, when you have, even I think your support matters so much to the people. The information is great. It shows, like, is the strategies that help them, get the changes, but your support and the fact that you understand what they're going through, is such a great leverage. And like I said, I'm really, really happy that you share that. And where could people find you if they want to get a hold of you, if this is something that, has resonated with them and they want to get to know more about you, like maybe you have a website or something that,
Yes.
can reach you at?
Yes. So I do have a website. It's just my name, BridgetDuhaime.com. So that's BridgetDuhaime.com. So you can go there. You can read all my whole story is on my website for anyone who wants to sit and read through it. You can book a call with me. I do free health assessment phone calls. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely go on my website and book a call. And then I'm all over Facebook. You can search me on Facebook and Instagram as well. So
awesome. And I want to talk, it's like you're a woman entrepreneur, and I want to talk to you a little bit about kind of like how you fell into it, because I don't think, based on what you told me, that you had that dream for yourself of being an entrepreneur. And it's kind of interesting, and I really love everybody's stories, because it shows the possibilities and it shows what people can do, especially when they're falling on hard times, to take what they're struggling with right now, turn it around, and then turn it into a business and into a way of helping people. So
right.
I want to kind of like get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I obviously never envisioned myself as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, anything like that. I've always been more of an introverted person in general. So I'm not somebody who really likes to be in the spotlight. I get nervous, never thought like I could be the one helping somebody through this. But pretty much what happened is my husband, well, you know Rob, and you've interviewed him before. He's kind of been in the health and fitness industry for the past decade. And he's, worked in and out of different gyms. And then in 2016, right before our son was born, he actually wanted to start his own business through life coaching and health coaching. And so we went ahead and started our own business at that time in 2016. And originally, all I wanted to do is I'm bookkeeper. I'm behind the scenes. I'll deal with our taxes. I'll do all of that stuff. But the more it went on, and I saw like how he was helping people, it started to make me wonder, like maybe I could do this too. And really, it took quite a bit of time before I actually got the courage to want to even try to coach people. It wasn't like this overnight thing, that just happened. It was just kind of this process of obviously just watching my husband. But I had found that as he was working with people, and even as he was still working in gyms, he would come across a lot of women who had either Hashimoto's or had hypothyroidism. And he would literally just tell these women, like, you know what, like, I gotta get you on the phone with my wife. And, you just need to talk to my wife. And so I just started setting up these random phone calls with women. And the information that I was sharing with them was blowing their minds, basically. They had never heard anybody tell them any of these things that I was sharing with them. And it started from there, and that kind of started to boost my confidence. I was just chatting with people and telling them, oh, maybe you need to switch to this medication, and you should really focus on eating these types of foods, and all the different things. But it's things that people's doctors don't tell them. So when they get that outside perspective, and especially from somebody who's actually implemented it in their own life and it's actually worked, somebody who's had success, people tend to listen. And I realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm helping people, and I'm not even charging for this. And not that, I mean, and it is a passion, and I totally will talk to anybody for free, just because that's just my heart. But I realized, the more and more conversations that I was having, I realized, like, I could actually make a business out of this. I could actually have my own health coaching business and really just cater it to women, because I really don't have any desire to work with men. Sorry, men, I love you, but women are just my specialty. I am one. So it makes it easy. And there's just so many different things, like so many different hormonal things that women go through. And especially if you've been through pregnancy and childbirth, I mean, there's so many different things, and how that's actually really correlated to the thyroid in general. And how that can really just turn your health around once you've had that experience in life. And so being able to relate to women on that level has been really awesome. And at first, I mean, again, it's been a journey. Like, I didn't even want to charge for my services at first, but I realized, no, I need to, because I actually am of value to people. And everything that I've learned over the past decade, I mean, gosh, like, people who are just getting diagnosed with this disease, I mean, the information that I have, I mean, is really life-changing. It can be life-changing for somebody. And if they don't have to go through this long road of twists and turns and going in all sorts of wrong directions, because, I mean, the internet is both a wonderful but horrible place, because there's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation. So it is so hard sometimes to know well, what actually do I need to be listening to, and what should I actually try? And so I love to be able to work right alongside with women. Like, obviously, I always tell people, make sure that you're still working with your doctor. And I don't, I don't prescribe any medication or supplements without recommending that they get testing done first from their doctor. But just being there and being the support, because the information, like I said, the information's out there. Anybody can Google whatever they want, right? But what it is, on the coaching aspect, why people really love for me to come alongside and be their coach, is because a lot of times people don't have like the drive and the motivation to want to make those changes for themselves. And it's the accountability portion that people really need. And I know that I would have gotten to where I am now like a lot faster if I would have worked with a coach.
Right.
Because it was a lot of like back and forth backslides of like, oh, I know I should be eating better, but I'm just going to have this instead because I want it. And oh, I know I should be sleeping more, but I'm just going to stay up late and get all this other stuff done, and I'm going to stress about all these things that don't even really matter. And I wasn't allowing my body and myself time to heal. And so there was many years that I had to go through, and I mean, it was a process. It was definitely what I needed to go through, because now my experience, I'm able to relate to women on that level because I've been through it. But it's been just really neat to be able to actually walk right alongside of somebody and hold their hand through the whole process, and just to have that accountability has been awesome. So.
And it's very fulfilling. And I know for a fact, for someone, like I said, I don't have your conditions, but I've gone through other like challenges. And I know how much I would have appreciated to have someone that would have walked me through it. And also, it saves a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of, trial and error, like you said.
Yes.
And also, we have this whole thing where we try something and we expect it to work right away, but sometimes the real changes happen over time, and it's like little baby steps added together. But because we're so impatient and we're so like wanting to feel better, we don't really like apply the things in our minds. We've already written them off because they don't work. But when you have an example like such as yourself, then you can definitely see the ultimate results. And I think that's definitely what the goal for many of the women that you probably work with.
Yes. Yes. I know everybody wants a magic pill, but unfortunately there is nothing. There's nothing out there that exists. It all it is, it's hard work that you have to put in. You got to put in the hard work.
Just kidding. People don't want to hear that, but it's true.
I know people don't want to hear it. It's not a popular opinion, but I mean, that's one of the first things that I tell my clients when they first start working with me is like, this isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to be easy. You're going to have to put in the work, and you're not going to like me at times. But it's the hard love and the hard truth.
Honesty. Right. But sometimes we really do need that, because we tend to allow ourselves too much slack at times, and it costs us too much.
Yes.
Too much. So, and in closing thoughts, what is something that you would like to share with the audience? Something maybe you've taken away from your journey and from what you've learned over the years, or maybe any tips for women who are either struggling with a condition or they want to open up a business. And anything goes. Like, if you want to give 10 tips, I'm all for it. But
okay. Oh my gosh, I know I could probably talk for hours, but I'll try to keep this short. Basically, I think the most important thing for anybody suffering from any sort of chronic illness, it doesn't have to be thyroid related, but any sort of chronic illness or disease, I would say that you really need to be your own advocate. And a lot of times you need to be your own doctor as well. And that's a really scary thought for most people, because obviously we view our medical doctors as they're the professionals. But when you start taking your health into your own hands, that is when true healing happens. It just does. And when you actually start researching and understanding what is going on inside your body from a cellular level, I mean, it's going to open up those blinders for you. And you are going to enter a whole new world of what you've, been told and what you've known your whole life. And so just being an advocate and being strong and not giving up, because there are literally like so many humps and hurdles that you have to go through when you are battling with a health condition. And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And that's just the way that it is. And you have to be very patient with yourself and allow yourself grace, because it's so easy to stress, and it's so easy to even compare yourself to other people in your life, friends and family, or maybe even somebody else struggling with the same disease as you. And you see, well, so and so, like, they are on such a higher level of functioning than me. Like, why can't I be like that? And I've fallen into that trap like so many times. But it's really, you have to listen to your own body, and you have to do what is best for you. And especially, I mean, if you're somebody who's dealing with with Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, I will say that food sensitivities are among like one of the biggest issues that I deal with. And I want you to know that there's not one diet that works for everybody. A lot of people say, oh, you need to try keto, you need to try paleo, you need to try this, you need to try Whole30, or, there's so many different diets out there. And a lot of them work really well. I'm not even going to lie about that. But when your body is under attack and your immune system is not functioning properly, your body acts out in different ways, and that usually comes out in the form of food sensitivities. And so something that I'm sensitive to, the next person's not going to be. I mean, and when I work with clients one-on-one, I mean, there's no one size fits all program out there. I really tailor my coaching program to the individual, and we work on, okay, let's get you the proper testing done that you need. But sometimes testing doesn't even come back 100% accurate, but it's really about listening to your body and giving yourself grace and keeping a food journal if that's what you need to do, but paying attention to what your symptoms are after you're eating certain foods, because you might need to eliminate them. And sometimes eliminating those different foods can be life-saving. I mean, yes, sometimes that means that you will have to supplement in other areas, because sometimes when you cut out different foods in order to feel better, then your body's going to be lacking certain nutrients, and sometimes then we will have to supplement with vitamins and minerals, and that's okay. But it's all part of the process. So I would just say to anybody who's suffering, from any sort of chronic illness, that you have to find what works for you, and don't give up, and don't be afraid to fire your doctor either, because if you're unhappy, if your doctor is not helping you feel better, and they're just running the same tests every single year, and they're not offering you any sort of solution, feel free to go hunting, go searching for a new doctor. You're not stuck to them. You're not a tree in the ground that can't move. You can pick whoever you want. And if you have the capabilities to do so financially, I will always recommend see a functional medicine doctor, or see some sort of naturopathic doctor. That will be your best route to healing if you can financially afford it. If not, I really encourage you to just be your own doctor and be your own advocate. And make sure that you're being heard, because in our world, so many times we're being silenced, so many times you're being shrugged off, and so many times we're just being prescribed with medications that are just trying to mask our symptoms. They're not actually solving the problem. And so the more you get to finding the root cause of why you got sick in the first place, that is truly what is going to make you feel better and promote so much healing in your life. So I think, I think that's what I'll probably end on there. So.
Well, I just love, because I think I just love listening to you because there's so much passion behind what you're saying. And I find it, like I said, in my own journey and people that I've talked to and worked with over the years, there is this common patterns. And obviously one of them, it is like listening to yourself, because a lot of times we have the tendencies of just believing what other people say, even though we have this gut feeling that is not the right thing. And when we ignore those inner knowings, and I'm not going to sit here and tell that doctors don't know their jobs, but I do find it that we need to walk towards a more holistic approach to life, rather than just being one way and that's the only way, because it doesn't
Right.
it doesn't work that way. And like I've had my own share, fair shares of experiences with doctors, and like I said, I know they are very much needed, but I
Of course.
really love to see them integrate exactly what we're talking about, a more holistic approach to life and medicine, and bringing in the natural supplements and stuff that can actually help without the side effects of medication. So I'm super, super grateful. I mean, like I said, I think we could probably talk for another, 2 hours without stopping.
I could talk about this all day, Kat, but I know for time's sake.
So, I really do want to encourage to people to reach out to you. I'm going to have the link below this video. I'm also going to have it on the screen to make sure that you reach out to Bridget, especially if maybe you hear someone else that's struggling with this, maybe a family member or friend or someone make sure that you pass Bridget's information to them, because they really, really do. We do really need to help one another. And we don't all have all the solutions, but for those who have the solutions to some of the things that we're struggling with, let's help out, let's spread the word, and let's, help one another. Because at the end of the day, this is really what we're here for, to champion each other, to help, each other through our own experiences with life and create a better solution to life and the quality of it. Thank you so much for the time and for everything that you share with me and the audience. And once again, we're going to have the link and the ways to get a hold of you. And I'm super excited for what's in store for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Kat. So happy to share.
Such a pleasure.